These machines can run 2,000 kilo loads at a single time, whereas the garment dye is about 100 kilos at a time. What's happening right here is the garment dye. So what we'll do is we'll knit the fabric, we'll stitch it together, and we'll run the whole garment through the process. So usually it comes in a raw fiber like that, and then we dip dye to match. So you can see behind you some that have just come out. The cool thing about garment dye is that you get a full coverage and it gives it that sort of vintage washed out look, which is becoming more and more popular. And for us, this is quite new. A lot of our production, a lot of our volume grew with pigment dye or fabric dye, but the garment dye is extremely popular in the States. So you can see a batch here. Typically garment dye, will run them in loads of about 300 pieces at a time. And you can see the finished product in here before drying. So all of those are tied up and they're going to be pulled out batch by batch and thrown into the dryer. Once they go into the dryer, they're going to be sent straight to the factory for ironing and packing. We're in the fabric dye section of the facility, and there's two main differences between garment dye and the fabric dye pigment dye. The first big difference is the size. These machines can run 2,000 kilo loads at a single time, whereas the garment dye is about 100 kilos at a time. And the second biggest difference is the pressure. So the garment dye doesn't operate under an immense amount of pressure. These machines do. And what that allows for is a really solid finish. So a lot of what you see, like what I'm wearing here, is an example of that. That's fabric dye gives you that solid finish, whereas garment dye gives you that wash out because it doesn't have that pressure creating that solid finish. You can see how it comes to the machine straight out of the dryer. And now this machine is running its way through and straightening that fabric into this machine here, which will then run it through some heat. This machine's essentially one big dryer, and that'll just run it through the whole process, get everything dry, get that last little bit of shrinkage out of the fabric, and then coil it at the end so that it's ready in rolls to go to the factories.